What is up, guys? This is Julien, the French winemaking guy who makes wine videos and champagne videos here on YouTube, sharing the knowledge and passion for champagne, bubblies and all types of wines. This is your essential guide to pronouncing the top 60 most important champagne brands correctly with a typical French pronunciation. At the end of this video, I'll also give you my favorite champagne quote of them all. It's quite a fun one, as you'll see, and we'll also talk about the ideal champagne wine serving temperatures, so make sure to stay tuned till the end of this video for that, and I'll stamp it in the video description if you want to skip part of this video and jump directly to that very interesting part towards the end. But let's get on with our top 60 most famous champagne brands that you should absolutely know and nail the pronunciation of. And let's start with number 1, Champagne Abelais. Founded in 1757, you will notice that these champagne houses are so old. Most of them are over 200 years old, sometimes 300 years old, 400 years old. Champagne Abelais here, located in the capital city of Champagne, Champagne Abelais, based in Reims. And then number 2, Champagne, the famous popular wine brand, particularly in the US, Champagne Armand de Brignac, making the famous Ace of Spades related to Jay-Z. He loved his Ace of Spades champagnes and he owned it at some point, I think. Champagne Armand de Brignac. Do not pronounce the D, do not say Armand de Brignac, but rather Armand de Brignac. Armand de Brignac. Champagne Ayala. Founded in 1920, this one is going to be 100 years old next year, located in the beautiful little town of Damery. Champagne Ayala. Champagne Billecart-Salmon. Many say Billecart-Salmon. Well, for the typical French pronunciation, say Champagne Billecart-Salmon. Champagne Billecart-Salmon. You can see that this one is over 200 years old at this point. Champagne Billecart-Salmon. Champagne Boizel, located in the town, a beautiful city, or is it a city or a town? I think it's a big town. Épernay, founded in 1834. In Épernay counts with this long avenue of champagne, counting with some of the most prestigious champagne houses. Long avenue de Champagne, Champagne Boizel. Champagne Bollinger. Many of you may say Champagne Bollinger, but for the correct pronunciation, French pronunciation, say Champagne Bollinger. You know, obviously, James Bond's favorite, Champagne Bollinger. Champagne Bruno Paillard. Champagne Bruno Paillard. Do not pronounce the D at the end of Paillard. Do not say Paillard. As you will notice, very often in French, the last letter of a word is silent. Champagne Bruno Paillard. This one is fairly new, found in 1981. Not even 40 years old. Quite a newcomer, but excellent champagne wines. Bruno Paillard. Champagne Canard Duchêne. Do not say Champagne Canard Duchêne, but rather Champagne Canard Duchêne, founded in 1868. Champagne Cattier, the maker of Armand de Brignac, as we talked about before. Champagne Cattier. Champagne Cattier. Champagne Charles Heidsieck. Champagne Charles Heidsieck. Typical French pronunciation, Champagne Charles Heidsieck. Do not say Charles Heidsieck, but rather Charles Heidsieck. Champagne Cherlin. Champagne Cherlin. Champagne Comte de Dampierre. Champagne Comte de Dampierre. Champagne de Castellane. Champagne de Castellane Brut, also located in Épernay, the beautiful, illustrious town of Épernay. Champagne de Cazanove. Champagne de Cazanove, also located in Reims. Champagne de Telmont. Champagne de Telmont. We will get to some of the very, very top brands that you know about, but we are still at the beginning of the alphabet here. Quite a lot of D's, quite a lot of de something in Champagne. Champagne de Venoge. Champagne de Venoge, also located in Épernay. Champagne Delamotte. Champagne Delamotte. Obviously, de in French means of the, so there's loads of champagne houses starting with de something. It's kind of a novelty kind of. Anyways, Delamotte. Champagne Desmoulins. Champagne Desmoulins, also located in Épernay. The famous house located in the village of Ai, founded in 1938, Champagne Deutz. Champagne Deutz. Beautiful champagne wines made by Deutz. Champagne Duval-le-Roi. Champagne Duval-le-Roi, located in Vertu, this small town in the Côte des Blancs, the best area, making some of the Grand Cru champagne wines made from Chardonnay, Blanc de Blanc. Located in Vertu, founded in 1959. Champagne Duval-le-Roi. Champagne Henri Giraud. Champagne Henri Giraud, also located in Haï. You can see that this one was founded 1625, so nearly 400 years old, that one. Champagne Gosset is more than 400 years old. Champagne Gosset, founded in 1584. Can you believe this? Champagne Gosset, one of the oldest of all champagne wines. Champagne Gosset. Champagne Alfred Gratien. Alfred Gratien. Do not say Alfred Gratien. Do not say Alfred Gratien. No, Champagne Alfred Gratien. Champagne Heidsieck & Co. Monopole. Champagne Heidsieck & Co. Monopole, also a very old champagne wine house. Champagne Henriot. Champagne Henriot. Champagne Henriot. Do not pronounce the T at the end of Champagne Henriot. Champagne Irois. Champagne Irois. Do not say Champagne Iroy, but rather Champagne Irois. Champagne Jacquart, another silent T, Champagne Jacquart. Champagne Jacquart and Champagne Jacquesson, founded in 1798. Champagne Jacquesson, such a famous producer. Rare champagne wines to find, but they are so fantastic wines. If you haven't tried any Champagne Jacquesson, well, you definitely should. They are pretty hard to get hold of, but they are fantastic. Champagne Jacquesson, Champagne Jacquinot Fils. Champagne Jacquinot Fils. Champagne Jean-Jacques Lamoureux. Jean-Jacques Lamoureux. Do not say the X at the end of Lamoureux. Jean-Jacques Lamoureux. Champagne Jean-Jacques Lamoureux. Champagne Gipert. Champagne Gipert. Champagne Joseph Perrier. Champagne Joseph Perrier. Champagne Joseph Perrier, for the typical French pronunciation, Champagne Joseph Perrier. The illustrious Champagne Krug. Champagne Krug, that belongs to the Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy, one of the biggest, owner of luxury brands in France and one of the biggest owner of land and champagne brands. LVMH, Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy, also owns Champagne Krug. Some of the best champagne wines come out of Champagne Krug. Champagne Charles Lafitte. Champagne Charles Lafitte. Champagne Lallier. Champagne Lallier, also located in Haï. Champagne Lançon. Do not say Lanson, but rather Lançon. Champagne Lançon. Champagne Laurent Perrier. Champagne Laurent Perrier. For the typical French pronunciation, Champagne Laurent Perrier. Champagne Lombard. Champagne Lombard. Champagne Marie Stuart. Champagne Marie Stuart Brut Rosé, as you can see on this image. Champagne G.H. Martel & Co. It'd be fine to say G.H. Martel & Co. Champagne G.H. Martel. Champagne Mercier. This one is particularly popular in France. You will mainly find this one in France. It also belongs to the Moet Hennessy group. Champagne Mercier. Oh, and obviously here is our friend Moet and Chandon. So do say Moet and Chandon. I made a very popular video on why you should say Moet and Chandon and not Moët et Chandon. So do say Moet and Chandon and go and watch that other video if you feel like it. Do say Moet and Chandon, not Moët et Chandon. Champagne Montaudoin. Champagne Montaudoin. Champagne Moutard. Champagne Moutard. My friends, I love those champagnes, fantastic champagnes. The Champagne Moutard, definitely recommend it. Located in the south of the Champagne region, Champagne Moutard, go and check them out. They are fantastic champagne wines. Champagne Mumm. Champagne G.H. Mumm. Famous brand for making this Cordon Rouge. I think that was featured in Formula One for quite a long time. I'm not sure it still is. Champagne Mumm. Champagne Nicolas Feuillat. Champagne Nicolas Feuillat. Obviously, the most illustrious, famous of all prestige cuvées, Champagne Dom Pérignon. Champagne Dom Pérignon. Do not say Dom Pérignon, but rather Champagne Dom Pérignon. Champagne Perrier Jouet. Champagne Perrier Jouet. Do not say Perrier Jouet, but rather Perrier Jouet. I did make a video on why you should say Perrier Jouet as well, so you can go and watch that. Champagne Philippona. Champagne Philippona makes some precise, fantastic champagne wines. Champagne Philippona. Champagne Piper Heidsieck. It'd be fine to say Piper Heidsieck, but the typical French pronunciation will be Champagne Piper Heidsieck. Champagne Pol Roger. Champagne Pol Roger. Yeah, you can say Pol Roger, but the typical French pronunciation, Champagne Pol Roger. Champagne Pommery. Champagne Pommery. Champagne Ruinart. Do not say Ruinart, but rather Ruinart. Champagne Ruinart, also part of the Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy group. Champagne Ruinart. Champagne Ruinart. You can say Ruinart. Champagne Louis de Sassy. I visited those guys, great family of vignerons making some great wines. Louis de Sassy. Champagne Salon, one of the most expensive and most demanded wines. The Blanc de Blanc, 100% Chardonnay, made in the town of Le Mesnil-sur-Roger in the Côte des Blancs. Champagne Salon. Do not say Salon, but rather Salon. Champagne Tétinger. Do not say Tétinger, but rather Champagne Tétinger. That's the name of the family, this very old family, very old champagne wines making the Comte de Champagne Grand Cru, Blanc de Blanc, 100% Chardonnay, illustrious prestige cuvée of Champagne, Champagne Tétinger. Champagne Tarlan, a family of vignerons that I also love, fantastic wines. I visited them at some point. There is a video where Champagne Tarlan shows me how to open a bottle of wine in a typical French fashion. Beautiful champagne wines at Champagne Tarlan. Champagne Thienot. Champagne Thienot. Champagne Veuve Clicquot. You've been wondering when we would get to Champagne Veuve Clicquot. How do you pronounce Veuve Clicquot? Well, Champagne Veuve Clicquot. Champagne Veuve Clicquot. The typical French pronunciation, Champagne Veuve Clicquot. Champagne Veuve Clicquot. And finally, the number 60, Champagne Vranken. Champagne Vranken. You can say Vranken, but the typical French pronunciation would be Champagne Vranken. And now to my favorite champagne quote. Champagne is for my real friends, but real pain for my sham friends. Yeah, I love that quote. Champagne for my real friends and real pain for my sham friends. How good is this quote? Now, I did make a video on why you should pronounce champagne, the typical French way, champagne, rather than champagne, because why would you say pain? I don't like that you say pain in the word champagne, but anyway, it's just me because I'm French. But if you want to know how to pronounce champagne with the typical French pronunciation, well, champagne. I made a video about why champagne is so expensive. That's an interesting one. And I also make a video about the serving temperatures of champagne. So if you're serving a non-vintage champagne, which is the majority of champagnes, you want to hit a temperature around 50-55 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's 10 to 12 degrees Celsius. So a little warmer than your actual fridge temperature, which would be 40-45 degrees. So I definitely recommend that you take your champagne out of the fridge about half an hour before serving, so it kind of warms up a little bit, and it's also gonna, make your champagne taste a little bit more flavorful. You are going to be able to taste its nuances, its aromas, and its flavors a little bit better. Not anything above this serving temperature, otherwise it's just gonna foam everywhere, and when you pop the cork out, but you do want to hit around 50 to 55 for non-vintage champagnes. If you are having a prestige cuvée champagne, so that would be like a Dom Perignon champagne, well, you want to have it a little warmer, even more, around 55 to 60 degrees. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, give it a quick thumb up to support my work before you go, and I will see you soon in the wonderful world of wine. Au revoir. I'm going to be linking to some of the videos that I mentioned right here. If you would like to learn more about champagne, well, here they are. I will see you soon in the wonderful world of sparkling wine, of champagne, in the wonderful world of vino. Au revoir. Bye-bye.